Hello, everyone. This is Kendall Askins from Stimulating Minds. Askins stimulates on all of our social medias, joining you another day with another Rethinking Math. And today, I'm going to talk to you guys just about instruction, right? Like good instruction. So the school year is coming to an end. And I've really been reflecting, meeting with students. Some of my students started a few months ago. Some of them started at the beginning of the year, and just looking at their progress, right? And as I was sitting and talking to some of the students that I've been working with, I had a few students this year that actually got their first 100 ever from working with Stimulating Minds, right? Like after a session or two, they got hundreds. I've had students who have been struggling in math maybe all along, and now they're like high 90 students, a few of them. I had students that came in this year who just thought that math wasn't for them. They just didn't get it, and they just really hated going to class and dealing with it and were unsure about it. And now they actually love it, right? Really enjoying it, having high success. And these are all things that happen just within this year's time. And so what does that mean? Yeah, okay, I'm doing it, but it's not about me, right? It's more so thinking about, well, what strategies and what techniques am I doing? Number one, good instruction, right? It matters. All of these students are dealing with the same math. It's not like I'm doing different math with them or something like that. They're all working on grade level, right? They feel safe, right? And they're working harder than me. I'm asking them questions. They're being put in a seat to be responsible and to actually show up, and they're required to work during the session. So instructionally, the effort they have to put in and the environment, right, is safe for them to learn. And these are three things that we do not always think about when we're thinking about math classrooms. A lot of times in math classrooms, educators take on the ownership, thinking that they are responsible for like delivering all of the information, right? And sometimes in those classes, children are not allowed to talk. Maybe they're in rows. The teacher is the one doing all of the talking. They're not necessarily in a space where they can themselves ask some questions. They don't necessarily feel safe to say, I don't understand. Can you repeat that? And all of these things matter, right? And so when you take children and you actually think about the instruction, you put them in position to work hard, and then you put them in a safe environment, all of a sudden you see a different level of success than what you may have seen in the past. And so I want you to really think about this, because mathematics is not a magical thing, right? It's very, very logical. And so when you put students in this, what you do is you start to unlock their curiosity. And when you unlock curiosity, right, then great things happen. So how do I unlock curiosity? Like, how do I do that in an instructional manner? Well, as an instructional leader, I've learned that listening is actually much more important than talking. And so in a math classroom, if we're rethinking mathematics, as the educators, when we hold the responsibility for being the deliverers of information, we're not allowing ourselves to be curious, right? And therefore, we're not demonstrating how to be a learner. And so I've learned how to be a learner even when I'm the teacher. And so by asking questions and allowing students to speak and allowing students to answer those questions, what it allows me to do is get into their heads and understand their thinking. And when I understand their thinking, I know if their thinking is logical or if it's magical. And if it's magical, that means that there's some misconceptions that we need to address. And the moment we begin to address those misconceptions, what we begin to do is unlock curiosity. Because when we're addressing the misconceptions, we're addressing them either in question form, right? Well, why did you do that? Or, okay, but on this step you did this. Does this make sense? Or did you understand this part? And then you begin to get them to ask questions, right? The more curious they become and the more questions they get answered, the more logical they become. And the more logical they become, they shift from magic to logic. And when it becomes logic and it makes sense, then they can reproduce it with or without you. And what you've done there is not only taught them a concept and how to address a concept, but you've now given them a framework for how to address anything that doesn't make sense to them. And so as we continue to rethink mathematics, we want to rethink our instruction and how we're going about instruction and how we're thinking about instruction and what environment that instruction sets for our students, right? So when we set an environment where they feel safe, we're going to cultivate curiosity. We're going to cultivate confidence, right? And all of a sudden, they're going to be able to do things that they thought were not possible. And I have that, right? This year, I have that. So I am going to challenge you today, and I'm going to say, how are you sparking curiosity? Let's do this together. I'll see you guys back here next week for more fun. Bye.